Hey friends, my name is Jake. Welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge. And we've got a CH knife here. This is the CH3517-G10 liner lock D2 steel. It's got a pocket clip only on the right side. It's an end flipper. So you flip from the end of the blade. And hey, it's pretty nice. It's not a big knife, but it fits most hands. My hands are just barely into the extra large range, and as you can see, there's a little bit of grip left over, when I'm holding it that way. So it fits most people's hands, and it's even quite comfortable in people's hands, with small adult hands. It's just a good, decent sized knife that way. It is over 3 inches in the blade, I believe. Yeah, oh yeah, it's about 3 1/3 inches. So if you need a 3-inch knife, this is not going to be it. But for everyone else, you might be interested in this thing. So let's get to the tabletop and take a good close look at it together. Let's do a size comparison with the Ontario Rat 1. It's not a big knife, but it's not a tiny knife either. It's a decent size. We've got with this jimping back here, once it's in the open position, it's rising up just a little bit, and then it comes down, and then it sweeps back up again. So they've got that upswept look that they could make out of a fairly straight piece of steel. So that's some smart engineering. We've got full thickness on this blade until we get to right about here, and then it comes down to the tip, so it's strong behind the tip. And nice smooth flat grind, satin finish. It's quite thin behind the grind. I like that quite a lot. And there's that hole with a gentle chamfering on the edges of it. On this side it says D2 on the plunge, and then on this side we've got CH knives there, and if you rotate it you can see there it says CH3517-G10. So pretty nice. The way the knife is made here, it's effectively got a sharpener's choil that comes right into the handle here, which is a perfectly fine design. It makes it serve the sharpener's choil's function perfectly well. It's fairly well sharpened. This knife cuts quite well. I didn't do any hard puncturing because, there's not a guard here at all to save your hand from sliding over the end. But I did do some slicing, some cutting, and a little bit of minor piercing, and it works quite nice. It's a well-sharpened knife. The sharpening on this knife is almost as good as, or it's very, very close to as good as what you saw on my video last time about the Bestech Swift. I don't know how it happened with 2 knives almost in a row. I have that fixed blade unboxing in between, but as far as reviews go, this guy has been sharpened pretty much the same as well as the Bestech Swift. Does that mean knife companies are changing? I hope so, but I'm not going to hold my breath. But this knife has been sharpened very, very well indeed. The handle, it's got a little bit of a curve to the handle, not much at all. It's pretty much straight. Curves back a little bit. Button screws in G10, which I don't like. Open pillar construction, which hey, I'm totally fine with that. Nice little hourglass shaped pins right in there, and comes back there. We've got, just sort of like on the Bestech Swift, we've got that cove milled in back here, but there's none up on the top on the spine there. There's some good skeletonizing in this thing. The lockup, very nice. I really like how much lockup that is. Solid lockup, no blade play, side to side, up and down, quite nice. There's some softened jimping that's raised up on the lock release. There's not a big cutaway here, but it was no problem disengaging that lock whenever I wanted to. So very good indeed. Right-handed or left-handed, it's easy to disengage that lock. So I quite like that. We've got CH knives design in here. It's the same on either side. Pocket clip is the next thing to look at. Let's see how well this clip goes in the pocket. It's got a nice flat top, climbs over. Not very loose in there, but it's free to move around in there, so that's nice. And just a little bit sticking out. It's about 1 centimeter, about 1/3 of an inch sticking out. Not bad. Let's go over all the weights and everything, and then we'll do the teardown. So let's do the measurements and such. This thing weighs 85 grams. That's 3 ounces on the nose. So it's a nice light knife. How sharp was it from the factory? Well, believe it or not, it was sharper than the Bestech Swift. This thing was 65 Bess. Cutting edge length, 84.8 millimeters, 3.34 inches. Blade length, tip to the closest spot on the handle, 86 millimeters, 3.39 inches. Thickness of the blade, 2.92 millimeters, which is 0.115 of an inch, so just a bit under 1/8 of an inch. Blade depth, the widest size right here at the heel of the blade, 21.4 millimeters, 0.843 of an inch. And how thick is it behind the grind? 0.44 millimeters, 17,000ths of an inch. Yeah, like the Bestech. And the grind angles, even more consistent. This side, 19.7 degrees, and this side, 19.8 degrees. This side's excellent. It started at 19.8 and ended at 19.6, so that's 0.2 degrees variation. This side started at 19.6 and ended at 20.1, so that's half a degree of variation. So yeah, very, very well done, like the Bestech did on the Swift that I had. This is not guaranteeing that every knife of this model that you get, if you buy one of these, is going to be sharpened just as well. They're hand sharpened, so each one is probably a little different from the rest. And so it's no wonder by random happenstance, I've got 2 knives in a row that have been sharpened really well. But I doubt it's going to be consistent for always. I hope so, but I doubt it. Handle length, 110.5 millimeters, 4.35 inches. Grip area, I'm estimating it to be around 10 centimeters, a little bit under 4 inches. The thickness of the handle on the G10, 13.5 millimeters, that's 0.532 of an inch. And the handle depth within the gripping area back here, the widest point is right here before the end of the knife, 18.7 millimeters, 0.736 of an inch. And when the knife is closed, the widest point is up here, and that is 22.7 millimeters, 0.894 of an inch. And deployed, the length is 196.5 millimeters, 7.74 inches. So not bad at all. The price, like I said, $32.90. Take off 10%, $29.61 US for this knife. Might be one of the best $30 knives out there. I think it's really good. Like I said, AliExpress has it for about $48. So if White Mountain Knives sells out, you could spend almost 50% more and buy it from AliExpress if you want to. So that's a good deal at White Mountain Knives. Hit that notify me button if it's sold out, and then you'll get an email when they're back in stock. It does have a free spinning pivot pin, but I was able just to push my thumb into that texture there, and that was enough to be able to loosen the screw using my screwdriver, so it wasn't a problem. Captured stop pin, and it runs in that little trench there. That's fine. A nice strong blade back here. We've got, there we go, steel ball bearings, really tiny ones. They're okay. I prefer bigger ball bearings than that, but those are fine. Ceramic detent ball, highly skeletonized there, a little skeletonized there, and yeah, well made, pretty simple. I wouldn't mind if it was a little bit nicer, but it's fairly well made. D-shaped pivot pin would be a really nice thing. to summarize, I think it's a pretty decent knife. It's got good action. It slices quite well. It pierces okay. It cuts okay. What's the difference between a cut and a slice? If I wanted to cut through this, I would just cut through it. If I wanted to slice, I would move my blade across it. That's a very simplistic definition of the difference between cutting and slicing. It's got an appealing aesthetic. The flipper works well. Lockup, the release, all that stuff's good except for the free spinning pivot, but even that is not terrible. You have T8 screws on either side, so you could use, clamp it up and use 2 screwdrivers. That works just fine. Very well sharpened at the factory. I am extremely impressed about that. The badging, not too big. It is on the bevel, but it's not too big, so I'll give that a pass. Not a high marks at all. Pocket clip is reasonable. Nothing special there, though, so I'm not giving any great marks for that. Same for the lanyard hole. It's a decent lanyard hole. They did chamfer the edges. It's a good hole. It's nothing super special. Nice skeletonizing. Balance point. I forgot to show that, didn't I? Right there is the balance point, which is just fine. And 3 ounces, not bad at all. The cons, it could use a little more chamfering at these edges just for a little bit more comfort, but you can do that at home too with a little bit of sandpaper. Just don't breathe that dust. There's glass fibers in the dust when you sand this, and that's bad for your lungs. No left pocket clip. Button screws that are T6s. I don't really like that. And button screws in G10. Yeah, don't like that either. But those are pretty minor. It's actually a good knife for the price point. If you're looking for a knife this size, well, consider this one. You could do a whole lot worse, but I don't know how much better you can do at this price range unless you want to get a Ganzo. I really like my Ganzos. Thanks, friends, for watching. Thanks to all my supporters of the channel. You guys are the best. There will be a giveaway to my Patreon and YouTube member supporters very, very soon because it's the end of the month time. If you want to become part of my supporters, any financial supporters, your name gets put into the draw every single month to be a random winner of a knife of your choice of something I reviewed in the previous month. And this month I haven't reviewed very much, so I've kept over some of the knives that I reviewed back before Christmas. So you'll get some good selections. And you also get the first dibs on all my sales. I will be doing a knife sale in probably just 10 days from now is what my plan is. We'll see. Thanks for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. And remember, friends, cut towards your chum, not your thumb.